It's Carla, and I'm back again in my kitchen today to show you how to throw a holiday party with 2 appetizers, a non-alcoholic customized drink, and a pre-batched cocktail in 2 hours, and look like this when it's all done. It is true, you can do it with a little help from your friends. This episode is going to go back in time to show you how we went from being like, okay, fine, I'll host the party, to being ready to open the door. In true fashion, I'm starting with the thing that takes the longest, right? You're gonna get your long, annoying thing out of the way, and then you're going straight into party planning. These are the dry ingredients for the biscuit, and I'm just gonna mix it together with my hands. You could use a whisk. These biscuits, notably, were developed by Eliza Weinreb, who's my digital media and recipe assistant. They're a little bit sweet, they're a little bit salty, and they're a little bit spicy, and they're a little bit savory. So I've got some scallions over here, and I'm just gonna separate some of the scallions out for the topping. This is again one of those kind of recipe developer, food stylist tricks where an ingredient that is in the recipe, then you put on top of the recipe. So people looking at it see what's inside of it, but also it's just pretty. It gives you like another texture. It's pretty to photograph. And then the rest of the scallions can go right into the mix. I'm showing you how to do this just by hand. If you have a food processor, you can use your food processor, but I also wanted to design a menu that no matter who had been anointed the party thrower would be able to pull this off. Baking is intimidating for people for lots of reasons, but one of the reasons is the entire hot hand community of the world. I see you, I know you're out there. I know that this is very scary for you. Hot hands exist, butter melts, and there's all these warnings. Don't let the butter melt. The butter is frozen. The butter's not gonna melt. Hot hand, cool hands, you're covered. So this is half a pound of butter. I had it frozen overnight, but if you really were throwing the party today, you would throw the butter in the freezer. As long as it's in there for about half an hour, it will be cold enough. And if it's not in a big block like this, it could be in 2 sticks. That's great too. Everybody has a box grater, and if you don't, you're gonna go downstairs and ask your neighbor. Using the large holes, rather than cutting this into pieces or pulsing it in the food processor to get pea-sized pieces, I'm going to grate it. And it's gonna flake into the perfect size, and they're gonna stay really cold because they're going directly against the metal. When you get down to the nubbin, it can be annoying and like start to grate your side of your hand. So I'll show you what I do, and it's just that little piece. Bench scraper or a knife, just cut it into little shavings and add it in with everybody else. If you are a hot-handed person, just try not to like palm the dough and just toss like you're running your fingers through your lover's hair. And you want to coat the pieces of flour and kind of gently like separate them if they're clumping together. The great thing about using the grater is that you don't have to work the butter, you don't have to be pressing it, you don't have to be worrying about what shape it is. This is really just about tossing. So while we're still in the bowl, I'm gonna add the wet ingredients. I've got cold buttermilk. Buttermilk is great for tang. It also has some fat, but it's actually naturally low fat. Whoops, 1 1/4. And then to the wet mixture, I've got gochujang. Like the whole flavor profile of the biscuit, gochujang itself is sweet, it's spicy, it's salty, and it has depth and like savoriness. So it's a fun ingredient to use. The first time we thought we would just whisk the gochujang into the buttermilk and make this homogeneous. And it worked, like the biscuits were good, but you kind of lost the gochujang. So then on subsequent tests, Eliza tried just putting the gochujang directly into the buttermilk and not messing with it. So you don't need to do anything here. The gochujang is gonna kind of melt into the buttermilk. You're never gonna bite into like one huge chunk. Hate the word chunk, never use it, take it out of all of my recipes. Can't believe I said it. I don't make a well or anything. I just pour it in. Oop, here comes a blob. So at this point, getting your hands in here could get a little messy. Gonna grab a big fork. And the goal here is to toss so that the dry ingredients are kind of evenly hydrated. That doesn't mean that the entire dough is gonna feel evenly moist, but just that you've spread the wet ingredients out. Maybe they've talked to, or at least come into contact with most of your dry ingredients. So after a few kind of turns around, you're gonna have something that isn't a dough exactly, but is starting to come together in larger clumps and feels shaggy. So from this point, it's going straight out. From here, I'm gonna start my kneading, which really means like gathering, a little turning, a little pressing. Less is more, because the more you work the dough once the liquid has been added, the tougher and denser and kind of chewier the biscuit's gonna be. And we're going for light, airy, fluffy, flaky. So that's kind of as far as I take it. Because it's holding together in the center. There's always gonna be a little bit more dry around the edges. Totally normal. Pie crust does the same thing. And from here, I wanna just pat into a 2-inch thick, square-ish situation. As I do this, you can see that my dough is moving. If you press down and the dough kind of like feels like it's stuck, that means it's stuck and you should throw a little bit of flour down on the surface. If you don't want to touch it so much, use your edge of your bench scraper, and you can even use it for pressing, and that's keeping your hands off of it. We're looking out for the vegetarians, we're looking out for the hot hands, just looking out for everybody. I don't know what 2 inches is, but I feel good about this. And you can see also now we've got that marbling effect of the gochujang just from the little bit of pressing and smushing that I've done so far. So now I'm gonna cut into 4 pieces, and I'm gonna do this stacking technique. If you've made biscuits, you might have seen this before. Stacking and pressing is gonna help create layers. So imagine there's pieces of butter sort of all throughout here, and by now they're stacking up into layers and getting pressed back down. And that's when you pull the biscuit apart and you can see like multiple floors in the building. So I'm just gonna press down again with my hands. If you feel like your dough has gotten warm, pick this up, put it in the fridge for 20 minutes. No problem, it's all good. Pressing it back down. And from here I can roll out a tiny bit. I'm going a little bit thinner than the last time, more like 1.5 inches. Again, don't have a ruler and don't understand measurements, so we're gonna be satisfied with what we do. Okay, going into quarters again. A lot less dry bits now, right? Because everybody got incorporated. Do you know that Macklemore song? And we danced. And we danced. Really, really, really good time. So for me, it's like, and we pat, and we pat, and then we roll it, roll it, roll it back out. Love you, Macklemore. Big fan, actually. Came up on my. Do you ever do the thing where when your phone is connected in the car, and then it does the thing where it just plays the songs alphabetically that are in your library? So the other day I was driving and I was alone, and so I didn't want to around with my phone and like put a different thing on. So I just kind of let it happen and was skipping songs. I listened to some bangers. It's kind of there were a lot of surprises. It was pretty fun. Okay, freely scooting, sliding, rolling. Square up your sides. I mean, I don't love, this is a little uneven, but it's totes fine. We'll roll it back out. Smashy smash time is over. My dough still feels cool to the touch. And at this point, I'm gonna divide this in half, which will make cutting it into even smaller pieces easier later. And it's gonna go for a little resting time in the fridge. Wrap these up airtight. You can use wax paper. I'm using plastic. You do want them airtight so they're not drying out. I know we're throwing a party today, But this biscuit dough, you could have done 3 days ago and put it into the fridge. You could have done it 2 months ago and put it into the freezer. Say you're throwing a party in a couple weeks and you're watching this video. Go make this biscuit dough right now. Pop it into the freezer. Bingo bango. I'm gonna chill these for about half an hour before cutting them into biscuit bites. For the salad, I am adapting a recipe from Where Cooking Begins, available in stores nationwide. And this fun fact about this recipe, I thought this was going to be the cover image for the book. We tried a bunch of cover tries, but then we did that instead. I still do love this recipe, and one of the things I really love about it is it's super versatile. So I'm taking this dressing, the Manchego and the walnuts, but instead of serving it with dates, I wanted to just use lettuces. We needed something fresh and crunchy. So kind of taking, crudité is nice because you have a fresh and crunchy thing, but I didn't really want to do a dip. So we're gonna take these toppings and turn them into what will become a little hand salad with lettuce boats. So that's the endive and little gems over here. And the dressing, I'm going to get that going. The other thing that I really like about this, for party planning, for hosting, everything happens in one skillet. So I'm starting over medium heat, a good amount of olive oil. This is where the whole dressing is gonna get built. So the olive oil, the fat that is here for toasting the walnuts, is also the fat for the vinaigrette. The recipe that you guys will get, which is linked, will have all the right proportions, but I decided to double what was in the book so I can make a nice big platter and not worry about not having enough dressing. And any leftovers, you're just gonna want to snack on them. These look done, gorgeous, golden brown, toasty, aroma, not overdone. I'm going to do the sweets. So I have 2 tablespoons of honey. Ooh, look, it's so pretty in the pan. Okay, so the honey going in here nice and hot. This is very helpful for the pan to be hot, for the oil to be hot, because the honey thins out right away and dissolves. And then I've got equal amount of rice vinegar. Any kind of not too assertive vinegar would be great here. You could use a champagne vinegar, sherry vinegar, cider vinegar. Ooh, boublage. It's bubbling because the vinegar is liquid. This was very hot because of the oil. That's gorgeous. Ooh, let's use flaky salt because of a fancy special occasion. I'm getting vinegar to the nose tingle. And you could play around with this. I'm using black pepper, but if you wanted to use more like a spicy chili or a smoky chili or paprika, or even just like crumble a couple of chili d'arbol and throw that in there, that would be beautiful. I'm just gonna stick with my black peps. Someone recently said in the comments, really, black peps? Is it that much harder to say black pepper? Thank God for this other person responded and said, no, it's not that much easier, but it's more fun. I will add the black pepper. Okay, this is good. You have to taste it. It should have spice. It should be salty. Thanks for coming over early to help with the party.
Anytime.
So I'm putting you in charge of nuggets.
Okay.
And nubbins. You're breaking into the cheese like you would a giant hunk of parm, and just like breaking off nuggets.
Done.
And I'm going to do my dates, which I have a trick for, which is not that tricky, but I use shears because they stick to the knife. These craggy little gold mines could be roughly like walnut size or a little like around the size of the walnuts, and that way everything will just fit into our lettuce cups.
A good hand salad bite.
It is a hand salad. We love a hand salad, especially at a party.
Favorite kind.
Do you have a favorite kind of party?
Yeah, my favorite kind of party is one where I am just kind of cooking the whole time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and not interacting with anyone.
Love.
And then serving.
Yes. What do you have like a go-to like appetizer?
I feel like it's a gougere.
I love a gougere.
Gougères, I feel like easy prep for ahead of time.
Totally. Something like that has to be like put into the oven and taken out in waves.
Yes.
Then you can have a friend who is also antisocial and they'll be very excited to like stay in the kitchen and feel like they have a job.
Yeah. You're making a whole big to-do about being away from everybody that you know and love.
That's right. I would like to like provide for you and yet not interact with you.
And that's love. Yeah.
Hey, great nuggeting.
Look at these.
They're a little big.
Okay.
Some of them are
I'll
a little
just
big.
go see myself out.
That's the kind of hostess I am.
Yeah.
Great job. You did it wrong.
Great job.
No,
They
just
suck.
a little bit smaller. So we're now gonna have a little sample because I also wasn't totally sure about the seasoning of this because my salt hadn't melted.
Okay.
The ideal bite, you would get dressing, a little walnut, a little cheese, and a little date all in one bite.
An extravaganza.
Here's a beautiful bite. I'll do a little spooning over.
Do you one bite it?
I mean, ideally, but it's
Yeah.
kind of big. The honey is coming through now.
It's like, it's perfect, actually.
Love
Yum.
it, date. We have to cut your biscuits.
Exciting.
Eliza's biscuits. Forevermore.
A lot of pressure.
Was it? You were a pretty cool customer about it.
I mean, it's going on the tube.
Yeah.
We don't know,
We don't know.
but we hope.
The queen could make these. We don't know. We also did talk about like the bite siziness of these biscuits, like because I think they were bigger the first time. I have a ruler here just for kicks, but we ended up with 1 inch squares.
Yeah.
Yeah. So an inch. But you do layer cakes and stuff like that. Like I feel like you are a precise person.
I do like, evenness, but, you come to the realization it's gonna taste good
That's right.
no matter the size.
Yes. Look at that butter. Nice piece of butter in there. And you can kind of see from the side, like all that stacking and pressing, the payoff. Okay, so of your friend group, let's just get into it. Who do you want coming over early and who are you just saying, no, come at party time, just bring ice?
Yeah, as far as who I want coming over early, it's absolutely my sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
She is good, handy.
Workhorse.
Oh.
Like, she's gonna get it done.
Love
And
that.
She has sort of like, she's good at collaboration. Who's coming late?
Yeah.
It's the people that you're like, you need to be here when things are like, everyone's got everything going already.
Yes.
And you are strictly there to bring the vibe,
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
When things are already kicking.
Also, have you ever had a party? I've never done this, but I've always dreamed of it, where you leave in the middle and just go up to your own room. Have you ever done that?
For me, that's the trouble of living in a studio.
That would be hard to pull off.
I'm just gonna go to bed, and then you're still in the party. So maybe that's good.
So we went with the scallions from inside. We've got sesame seeds, which I never heard. You said tuxedo. I had never heard that. For sesame seeds, black and white mixed. And then we've also got gochujang, which is the chili that's in gochujang. That is another like nice thing to put on top, especially if you want to play up the spice a little bit.
What's not optional is the flaky salt.
Not
which I
optional.
gotta grab over here.
You could come early.
I could come early.
Yeah, I would have you come early.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm coming early.
Great.
I'm sleeping over. Do you feel like there needs to be a wave to the party? Like, do you want everyone at once?
Well, there's that scary feeling at the beginning. Like if
When no
not
one's
enough,
showing up.
when not enough people are there for like
Yeah.
the first hour, that can be just really stressful.
Yeah, totally.
And very awkward.
They're going in.
Will you do the honors?
Yeah.
Okay.
Biscuits in.
Thanks for coming to help with the party.
Anytime.
You are going to be squeezing citrus, which is
Sweet.
an important job at any party. So I need you to do 1/3 cup of lime juice.
Okay.
And we're building a non-alcoholic punch.
Love it.
Do you know how these work?
Yep.
So you're gonna go cut side down.
Okay.
Okay, so just cut these guys in half.
Okay.
Holler when you have 1/3 cup.
Okay.
And in the meantime, I'm gonna make a 50-50 martini.
Amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
This is a really easy martini because it's a 50-50. It's called an Eventide. Molly Boz taught me this drink. It's now my favorite cocktail. 50-50 martini, equal parts gin and Cochi Americano. Cochi is like a fortified wine, kind of like Lalli, if you've ever had that. A little sweet, a little citrus. I've always wanted to do this on camera. My boys would be like, make the vortex, Mom. Okay, so yeah, I've done parties where I thought I was gonna like make martinis for people all night or mix Negronis, and like that's fine if you have 4 people coming over, but not for like party. I'm adding water, even though it seems weird, but if you were stirring or shaking, well, you should stir a martini. The dilution of the ice when you stir goes into your finished cocktail. So if you just mix the alcohol and you don't dilute with like the amount of water that would come off your melting ice, it's just gonna be too hot. Okay, so now this I'm gonna put some orange bitters.
Love orange bitters.
So that is that for the Eventide. This is a juice jar, but that's okay. You need it to be 2 liters because it's 2 750s plus the water that I added, but it's seasoned, it's mixed, it's diluted, and soon it will be cold. To the fridge.
Yeah.
Were you nervous squeezing limes?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I saw you shaking.
Yeah, I've never held one of these in my life.
Will you pour the lime juice in here? You know what? We're gonna level you up because you did so well
Oh my God.
on squeezing the limes.
Sweet.
Now you're gonna cut oranges.
My favorite.
We're gonna go into thin rounds, okay? So taking the little butt off, and then you don't have to go crazy. So if your party is called for 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
and I ring the doorbell at 8 o'clock, or actually a knock on your window at 8 o'clock,
Wow, you're right on time.
what's gonna be happening inside the house?
Chaos.
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 Would you be dressed?
Yeah.
You would be? Okay.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dressed? Would you be like still putting on mascara?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. I expect people to show up at least 15 minutes late.
This is a window. Everybody needs to understand this. Being on time is being like an hour early.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
This
did
is
the
a
blood orange. We need, give me half a cup of lemon juice in there. And so these are gonna infuse. So
Oh my
like
God.
the,
As I spill it
oh, that's
everywhere.
okay.
Got it.
So the way it works is the measures are on the outside. So you're gonna
Amazing.
go to that
Look at all the
line.
things I'm learning today.
Are you a stay-in New Year's? Go out New Year's.
Stan.
Stay-in. And what do you want in that experience?
I want a cocktail
Yeah.
in hand,
Yeah.
something on the record player.
Do you want people?
Yeah.
Who's like the wild card in your crowd? Like who's the person that you're like, let's invite them even though they might not know anybody, but they're fun at a party?
Oh, his name's Bill.
Bill. What's Bill's vibe?
Party animal. He
That's
will bring
important.
the vibe if there is no vibe.
And is he
So
allowed to come early or you don't want to see him till?
No, he's allowed to come early.
So we're gonna need a quarter cup. Add this to this. And then my
Delish.
hands are all wet. We do a pinch of salt. And I'm gonna do bitters. Here, some dashes. And then we're gonna do agave. The vibe of the Kelsey's Cali-Sober citrus cooler is that people who aren't drinking will feel like you thought about them and you planned for them and you have like a fun looking drink for them. Or the people who do drink alcohol can get in on the non-alcoholic cooler and mix that. Yeah, exactly. Tequila. It would be good with gin.
Yeah.
It would be good with vodka. Rum even would be delish. Clap these between your hands a couple times. Open up the aromas.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, you can really smell it.
Smack it around and then
Wow.
shove those leaf down into the punch. Yes, yes, yes. And leave them in there.
Perfect.
What's awesome about this situation is the remaining pomegranate juice, the rest of the blood orange juice, the rest of the lemon juice. This can just be part of your bar. I'm feeling flustered and fluttered and all over the place, but I did put on a dress, so now it's party time. Got my biscuits. So my advice is to put the biscuits in the oven about 15 minutes before party time. Then you will get the desired, delicious smelling house, and you will also have a wave of warm biscuits coming right out of the oven. Just have the oven on about 200, and then the biscuits are fully cooked and you're keeping them warm, and then like coming out through the night with warm, fresh biscuits, which is just like goals. Beautiful. Next, last little thing, and actually I would wait until people were at the party to do this, finishing touches on the salad. It's one of those things where like everything is already done, but when people see you do the last reveal, they think you're a superhero. So I'm just seasoning these, a little bit of fresh lemon juice, season them with salt so that the lettuces are not like bland and watery because everything else is so delicious. And then these preset dates. Make sure you get underneath because as this top layer is consumed, you want your under endives to have partaken in their party dressing. Okay, so my walnut dressing, this is gonna be great like at the beginning of the night. It's also gonna be really good at the end of the night. All right, so this is beautiful. It's gonna look so pretty under like candlelight, Gorgina. Now it's drink time. If you're that kind of person and you kind of just need to take your own jitters off before the party, I'm gonna make myself a little Eventide on the rocks. That way I won't drink it too fast and it will continue to dilute. Remember all those people that we said they don't get to come early, but when they ask you what they can bring ice. You're gonna need so much more ice than you think. They walk in the door, you have a cooler. Everybody who brought ice is walking straight to the cooler. They are putting their bag of ice in there. That is their contribution. You will be so happy. People make like 5 drinks, they leave them all over the place, and you need to have ice. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfectly diluted. I love this drink. Love an Eventide. This has been hanging out. It chilled. I think this is also great on the rocks. People are gonna ask what it is and just tell them it's Kelsey's Cali-Sober citrus cooler and that you recommend they mix it 50-50 with seltzer. The other thing that's great to have, because you want a self-service bar, I just pulled out random bottles of alcohol for mixed drinks, like a couple measuring things, some bitters. You have provided other bubbly mixers. Citrus has been wedged. What else can they ask you for? Possibly. Eliza, you looked a little dehydrated, so we're starting you off with a non-alcoholic. You looked ready to party. You've got Eventide up. I've got my Eventide on the rocks. I'm just gonna be sipping this all night. I feel like we get first fingers into snacks. So there's date, walnut, Manchego. Ooh, wow, I got very lucky with that game of salad Jenga.
Wow. The cheese sets it off. And then the honey. Is there honey in there?
Super taster.
Check out Kelsey.
A refined palate.
This is your like spice nut, your cheese board, and your crudité all in one. Eliza, tell us about your biscuit.
I think we just need to get into them.
Can I give you one?
Wow.
Wow.
So it's a little, so bitty.
So yeah, you've had brownie bites. This is biscuit bite.
Have you had a biscuit bite?
Yum.
Not yet.
I love how scallion comes through. Oh my God.
I could eat every single one.
I did 2 bite it, but I could have one bit it.
I'm gonna make those.
Aren't they insane?
Yeah,
You're gonna make them?
I'm gonna make them.
Not to make a big deal out of it, but I do think at some point during the evening, it is really nice when the host says something to everyone just for a toast to say, if you had a shitty year, may next year be better. And if this year was great, may next year be even greater. And we're gonna get through seasonal affective disorder together. Cheers!
Cheers!
Cool sound. Exactly, what are those called? The Zeiss watchword.